Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Scream Scene. I am Jody Dean, and tonight I am joined by my lovely co-host, Miss Krista. What up, Krista?
What's up? How are you?
Doing pretty good. Uh, you and I both in different states, far apart, but we both just watched my episode on Ghost Adventures House Calls, second season, their new season, first episode, Dean's Haunted Mansion. Um, what did you think about it?
I liked it. I thought it was an exciting episode. Obviously, I've never been to your location, so I didn't have any expectations of what they would find. Definitely would like to visit Dean's Haunted Mansion. I thought it was compelling, and I felt bad for your mom being stuck there.
Same. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well put together. They were very very nice. It was a great experience, and I will say that I I believe they documented a lot more. I thought a lot more was going to be on the show, or maybe it's not as much as I thought. But I was happy with the outcome, and there was some compelling evidence that they had there. The fact that they caught that stick figure with its hand on my mom's shoulder, that that's scary, isn't it?
That was very compelling, especially after she was saying that she'd been pushed down the stairs. It makes me wonder if it's the spirit that was killed in her room, but they were talking about a woman as well. I can't remember her name.
Right. Yeah. The woman downstairs, Stephanie, she taught music. I believe she was a piano teacher. And there was some things that didn't make the show that I'm aware of, and I won't talk about them because obviously they didn't want them to be in there. But I will say that my mom and I and several people have heard a woman humming in the mansion, and you go to try and find it and it stops, and you go back to where you were and it starts again. It's almost like it's a game. It tries to lure you out, and that was something that I didn't hear them talk about, but it's something that I believe they caught. It's something we hear quite often. And there's so much. I got a video coming out. Actually it's coming out today by the time this comes out. And I caught some really great stuff at my follow-up, which was just a month after they had left. So
Like EVPs and stuff like that?
Um, there was a few EVPs that I caught. There was just a lot of great responses on the Spirit Talker. Um, I had some K2 action, which I love it when the K2 meter you get like real deal interaction with that direct communication. Um, so I had some of that. There was a lot of sounds that were happening around me, and you can clearly see in view, like you can hear the sounds like where they're coming from, and then there's nothing there. So that's compelling. That's scary. And I noticed a lot of that happening while Ghost Adventures was there. There was things that were happening when they weren't recording. Like I remember Aaron walking in and saying to the guys, like, yo, man, this is heavy. Like there's something really, really heavy here. And I didn't see that in there. And I was like, man, that's crazy, bro. Like, but I get it. When you're putting these things together, I do the same thing. Like with the movies, there's a lot that I don't use that we film. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh yeah, I did. You'll take like 10, 15 minutes of video and use 2 minutes of it cuz you got to pick the best clips, what you think is going to be the most compelling to the audience. So maybe some of it got cut because they were trying to, appeal to the audience or the time limit. Um yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, no, you're spot on because I mean they have an hour to sell a whole show. So you got to get somebody's story, their testimonies, and then you got to film your guys doing their thing and then giving the final thoughts there. So I love the show. I thought it was great, but even more than that, um those guys were so kind to my mom, to my son, to Alicia and and I was just blown away by how nice and how down to earth and caring they were about the whole situation. They put my mom up in a really nice hotel for several nights. They called to check on us afterwards. I spoke to Zach a few times afterwards, like when the show had been wrapped already, and he was checking on my mom. I was like, dude, that is so crazy, you know?
That's very sweet that they're that respectful. How long were they there for? A couple of days, 2 or 3 days, or
Um, I'd say, about 2 full nights, and then like a day, their squad was kind of there, like some production company, like coming in and their production company coming in and maybe getting like some drone stuff, some B-roll. But I think they were the guys themselves, just maybe over a course of a few nights. But yeah, when they showed up, it was quite the vibe. Just seeing them on TV for all these years, and then at my doorstep, there to help us with the situation. And I think that's probably the biggest question a lot of people will have that watched it is like, Jody, you've been doing this forever. Why'd you reach out to them? You know, sometimes when you're dealing with something and you tell people the story and it's just coming from you, it's one thing. But when you get people that have been to every haunted location in the world, all over the world, on TV for years, their fan base is just worldwide, and they come in there and they document some of that stuff and they have experiences and say, hey, yes, this place is really haunted. It lets you know that you're not crazy. It lets the world know you're not crazy. But also, I was hoping that they could, maybe give us some helpful advice. And I think they did without saying, hey, do this, do that. They out loudly, they said, this is what's causing that. So now I've made adjustments to the place in some aspects of things that they said on camera, off camera, that I feel like, have kind of helped a little bit.
like with the EMF readings, because those were out of this world. They were. I've never even seen EMF readings that high that I can remember anyway from an episode, and it wasn't caused from electricity or anything. So, can you do anything about that specifically?
Not really. That's all spiritual. That was something that we did talk a lot about. It's something that's very real. I've done that same experiment before where I've cut the power completely off and I still have meters and things going crazy in there. Um, these guys have devices that I don't even have in my arsenal. There was more stuff deployed than what was shown. I'll just say this. Um, you know, they know the place is very haunted. They stressed it to me. Um, Zach stressed it more. That conversation that we had after they had left weeks later, our chat there right at the end, that chat was like 15 minutes long. And you see like maybe a few minutes of it. So there was a lot more concern. But again, that's expected. It's cut down into this TV show. I mean, even Jay, I think he probably chatted with them for like maybe an hour. And you see him in there for all of maybe 30 seconds throughout the whole thing.
I
So,
kind of remember the timeline too when your mom was actually in the hospital. You were talking on your HTD channel about that, and you were asking for prayers with your mom being in the hospital. That was definitely concerning, I think, for everybody that follows you.
it was, and it, I mean, it definitely warms my heart that so many people just like stepped up and like reached out with prayers and stuff. And I could see how, our supporters were like very concerned. Um, did the situation with my mom's heart have anything to do with the place? My mom's had heart problems for several years now before I even owned the mansion. She found out about 7 years ago that she has a tumor in the middle of her heart. Now, there's a lot of downsides to that, but one of them is the doctor telling her if we operate on it, you're probably going to die. If we don't operate on it, you're probably going to die. It's in the middle of your heart. There's not a lot we can do. Let's just be happy that it's not growing. And now, fast forward, 7, 8 years later, it's still not growing. So that's good. She's still here, thank God. Um, but the situation at the mansion was crazy because I told her before she ever came there. I said, "Look, this place is really haunted." She's like, I'm on the fence about that stuff. I don't really. She believes stuff's out there, but it's not like how you see in the videos. Now, I've lived in haunted places and she's witnessed some stuff where she's like, okay, all right, there might be something hanging around here, but she still don't take it serious. That's what it is. She don't take it serious.
That makes sense. Usually, if you're in a and she was there alone, from what I understand.
Yeah, yeah.
Usually when you're alone in a situation like that, you debunk everything in your head. You're like, oh, it's the cat, or it's the wind, or it's an old building, it's the pipes. But you know when it is and when it isn't. You get that vibe and that feeling. I know when you told me I could stay there when I flew out to shoot the movie with you, I was like intimidated, but I was like, okay, I'll totally do it. But I was so scared, so I'm glad I didn't end up staying there. But yeah, it's interesting. You'll talk yourself into whatever you want to talk yourself into or out of. If you don't want to believe the paranormal, it'll be something else.
That's true. I needed you on set. I'm glad you didn't stay there because if they would have pushed you down the stairs, then I would have been a main actress shy that day, and that wouldn't have worked so great. But I do want you to end up. You will end up coming there eventually and checking it out. It is there's last week I sent you some pictures of a new set I was working on. Um, I was there painting, and for a good 2 hours, nothing happened. It was so quiet. I was like, man, like this is so different. And then all of a sudden, things started happening. There's been times where I've been there and nothing happens. There's been times where I've been there and you would feel like there's 20 other people there with you and it's just you. So it most of the time, anybody that comes there has some kind of experience. All my employees during haunt season, I employ 18 to 24 people every Halloween, and probably half of them or more will come to me at the end of the night or during production and say, "This just happened. I just seen this. I just witnessed this." Some of those people were watching the show tonight and they were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. I wonder if they're going to see the little girl or if they're going to see the little boy or the old man." So, I mean, they know.
What would you say is your scariest experience that you personally have had at your mansion?
I would say that when I bought the place, um, I didn't waste no time. The day that I closed on it and got the keys, I come, I pulled up, I came in the front door with several cans of paint, and I started painting the day that I got the keys. I didn't waste no time. I told Alicia and the kids to go ahead and go back to Florida, that I was going to stay there for a week and work on the place. And they were like, are you serious? Like, I'm like, yeah, like, what do you mean? Like, Halloween's 3 months away. And like, you can't get open by Halloween. I was like, I'm going to be open by Halloween. Um, so I go in there, they stayed the first night and then they left the next day. I went in there, I started painting, I started working on the place, and every single day while I was there, stuff would happen while I was painting. But the scariest thing at night when I would lay down to go to bed, there would be a tall, dark figure of a man, faceless. He would come to the doorway and just stand there and stare. There were several times I would get up and walk to that doorway, and as I would walk to it, he would just like vanish. Not even like move, vanish, just like this um th- just gone. Like
Like a mist, kind of?
disintegrate into molecules that like look like grain. Um and I would go back and lay down and maybe I would fall asleep and I would wake up again just feeling like I better check, that one eye open, like looking around, and I would see him again. That was the scariest thing, to know that somebody was watching me. And that happened like almost every single night for a week.
How did you fall asleep? Is it one of those things where you just told yourself it wasn't real? Were you able to communicate with this spirit? Do you think it's the same one that your mom saw? Sorry, I have all kinds of questions.
No, I mean, those are good questions. And yeah, from what my mom has described, I do believe it's the same thing she has seen. But I'll just say, you know, a lot of times when people watch my videos, they're like, "Man, if you're scared, why are you doing this?" I'm like, if I wasn't excited, I wouldn't be doing this. I do this because I love this. I live off the rush, the same rush I get from when I watch a good horror film. You know, like, oh my God, something's gonna happen, something's gonna happen. I love it. I live for it. It can be overexerting sometimes. And I think in that time frame there, I was busting my butt all day working on the place. And then at night trying to get a good night's sleep and that happening, it was a little overkill of spiritual activity. And I wasn't even filming. Like it wasn't even like I wasn't breaking out the camera. It wasn't a content thing. I was just trying to get ready for Halloween, which by the way, I got that place in shape, ready to open. Like everybody said it would be impossible. It was 3 months away. I had it open mid-September.
I don't think you know the word impossible. I have not seen you be overtaken by something. If somebody tells you you can't do something, you're going to prove them wrong. So
Oh, makes me do it 10 times more. Yeah.
it's definitely the renovations, though, I hear bring the spirits out. And I also hear that they kind of calm down the more they get to know the person that's there. So you spending time there, they probably don't make themselves as known all like as frequently as they could if you were new. And I've heard the opposite too. So like they're shy and the spirits will come out when they get to know you as like you more. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that my mom's acknowledged this a bunch of times. As you know, she still lives there. So, which you know, I kind of cover that and talk about that in tomorrow's video. But I'll just say that she has said so many times, "There's something good here, but there's something negative." We've all said that same thing. We've seen a little boy. My son has seen the little boy. My oldest son's seen the little boy. Alicia's seen the little boy. Alicia got a picture of like the back of his head, which is crazy. Um,
They were telling me about that seeing the little boy when I was there with you guys. It was interesting that they've all experienced the same things at different times.
it is, and I think that's somebody of the caliber of Ghost Adventures. I think that's really. I wanted somebody to come in there and say, "Man, we're not crazy, dude," and maybe give us some helpful, information. And hey, listen, I'm a pretty smart guy. I know that buying a historic mansion, turning it in a place that's a historic mansion that's already haunted, turning it into a haunted house attraction, having all these depictions of death all over the place, bringing in objects I believe to be haunted, contributing to the energy is not the smartest thing in the world. Um, but it's something that I love and I care about and I'm passionate about. Um, and it just so happened to be the place that I fell in love with, and I said, "This is going to be my attraction." Um, and there were some things that they said to me on and off camera that um, there was a few things that I removed from there. Let's just say that there's a few things I've removed. There's a few things I've adjusted. There's some things. There's almost like some rituals I have now, like going over there praying for the place once a week, and I do believe that it's helped a lot.
When you first bought the place, was there anything left over inside the mansion, like old furniture or mirrors or pictures or anything?
Yeah, everything. um, everything. I mean, I went up into the attic and I found old papers that they had take notes on, journal type stuff, old memories, pictures, documents, everything, furniture, jewelry, writings on the wall, um, stuff under the carpet. I found about $50,000 in Jamaican money.
Wow.
In Jamaican money, like I that blew
You're
my
just making the money.
grand in Jamaican money under a piece of carpet.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was just a lot of there was a lot of things there that it was like, wow, this place has really been lived in. It's really been worked in. And that was something they didn't talk about in the episode. It was a tin factory. It was an overflow hotel. The house next to it was the main hotel in town back then. And when they were booked, they would send them over to my place, and that would be like the overflow hotel. And if you ever look at the place on the top floor, there's like a third level. And a lot of people are like, "Wow, what's that door on the third level? Because nobody can walk out that door. Why is it there?" Well, they used to have this thing, I refer to it as like a boom jib, where they would open up that door and bring it out and drop a chain down, and they could pick up the people's luggage off the horse and carriage, bring it up, and then the bell people would bring it to your room.
That's cool. I wish we had those features nowadays. Now you just have to pay a bellhop to bring it up.
Exactly, man. We're missing out, but you know, there's so many cool things I've learned about the place, and I do love it. But as Zach mentioned it, as I've stated to you and a few people, I mean, I've been on the fence about it, but I put it up for sale because of a few reasons. Um, well, three reasons. Okay, number one, I moved my mom in there, and this stuff happens, and I'm like, hey, I gotta get you out of here. I'm gonna get you a nice place, place that don't have stairs, because I already worried about her being around stairs. And I'll pay for it. I'll set you up real nice. We'll find a place that you love. No, I can't leave here. And I'm like, oh shit, this place has a hold on her, right? So one reason to sell it is like to get her out of there and get her into somewhere safe. Number two, something could happen to her, an employee, family, and I don't want to risk that. Um, and three, as a businessman, I know I can open an attraction anywhere. I can find somewhere where, hell, I could build a brand new place, a new concrete building, and open up a new attraction somewhere. Um, and it's just the if you're ever going to sell, it's the best market. So with all these things together, it's like, why wouldn't I sell in this market? I stand to make the most money in this market, but also the best things will come from this. I'll make money. I'll get her out of here into a place and make her happy. Hopefully, she's obsessed with the mansion. She loves it. She loves going out onto the balcony on the second floor and just looking out at the town. I love that same thing, but I'm afraid that what are they going to do next? Are they going to hawk you over the balcony?
How long has she been there? A couple years now? 2 years?
Yeah, it's almost been a couple years.
Wow. That's scary if she feel it sounds like she might have an attachment. If you get even your environment, you get attached to your environment. It's like when you leave home, you get that homesick feeling. I
Yeah,
feel like you get that same feeling with the spirit too if it's attached to you or a location, the energy there.
I agree. And that was something Zach said to me. That was something Aaron said to me. That's something Billy said to me. Billy said, I think this house has a hold on her. Um, I've said it many times. I've had that conversation with my mom, and she'll say, "No, I love it, Jody. It's a beautiful house. I love these claw feet tubs." And I'm like, "Yeah, mom, it's not worth your life, though." And after having heart surgery, I'm thinking to myself, "This is going to be it. She's not going to want to do these stairs, and um, no, she even started bawling, crying one day, and I'm like, "Look, I'm going to get you another place and I'm going to keep you close by. I'm just going to make sure that you're safe." And I mean, she's made me feel bad for trying to help her.
Tell her you can move the claw feet tubs. Just tell her to bring one with her.
I definitely get what she loves about it because I love it too. It's it if it sells it, and I ain't gonna lie, a lot of people looked at it. I've had some dude, here's the craziest thing. I had some heavy duty offers on it before I ever put it up for sale, and I turned those down. And when I say heavy duty, I mean like quadruple what I have into it. And now that it's up for sale, I've had people look at it. I've had some offers come in. Um, there was one that I I shouldn't have turned down, but I turned it down because I think a big part of me doesn't want it. It's hard for me. Maybe I got an attachment to it too. Or it's just the idea that I've wanted this haunted house attraction since I was a kid. I got it, and now I don't really. I know how much work I put into the place. I don't really want to let it go. Has nothing to do with money. Um, money is great, but I wouldn't be into half the stuff I'm into if it was all about money. I could have easily, instead of doing a haunted house attraction, I could have just bought that place, slapped some paint on it, and flipped it. Um, I love Halloween with a passion. It is my life. As you know, horror films are my life and everything that comes with it. So, will I find another place I can open up a haunted house attraction? Yeah. Will it have the same curb appeal? Probably not.
The thing too is your production company is called Dean's Haunted Mansion. So
Yeah.
it's like how could you really let that go? I get what you're saying, and if you did, we talked about this briefly, would you sell everything with it or would you take your stuff with you? We had talked about that too. Like somebody that buys it, are they going to change the integrity of what you built? Is that why it's such a hard thing for you to sell? You don't want
So
to see Airbnb, right? Like this is an Airbnb.
Alicia said, why don't you turn it into an Airbnb? Because I don't want people coming in there messing up my shit, disrespecting my shit. I am like so about respect and principles and shit, and I don't. I could buy a place in Airbnb. That place I can't bring myself to do that with. Um, yeah. So Dean's Haunted Mansion, haunted house attraction and film studios is my business. It's how I'm going to release all my films under that name, under that company that I've created. So that name will follow me wherever I go. I will build a facade for whatever office I have that looks like a mansion. Because Dean's Haunted Mansion is, yeah, it's the attraction, but at the end of the day, it's my mind and it's all my ideas and everything, and I'll carry that with me until I die. So I'm not selling the name with it. Nobody's buying it as a business, even though they are. So the way that I've got it listed selling is for $310,000. They get the house, the hearse, the ticket trailer, all the props and all the decor and the commercial piece of property, obviously, for 310 grand. It's a hell of a fucking deal.
That's
Um,
incredible. I'm gonna come buy it from you. I'll keep it intact.
somebody's gonna grab it. It's just gonna take a person that wants to has the same vision, maybe for a haunted house attraction or a haunted Airbnb, a haunted bed and breakfast, whatever the case may be, a haunted museum. Um, I had somebody ask me why I was selling it so cheap, and I don't think a lot of people realize I bought that for 60 grand, and I put 120,000 of my own money into it, and a lot of sweat equity. So really, 310 is it's something that I'm happy with, and at the end of the day, I'll just be happy that nobody's gonna get hurt. Um, And again, Dean's Haunted Mansion will continue to exist. Maybe I'll open up another Dean's Haunted Mansion haunted house attraction in Alabama or Mississippi. I don't know. I just know that I have explored places, and I was even going to open up a second haunted house attraction just 8 months ago. And I was like, well, I better not do that because I knew I wanted to really take off with the movies. And the first movie was taking off. So I kind of was like, well, if I bite off this, then it takes more time away from making films. And like all these things are kind of ranked in how much I love them and how much I want to do them. And it's like movies is right here, YouTube is right here. Um, the haunted house attraction is like right here. It just so happens that the way that things happened was YouTube happened first, then the mansion, and then the movies. So, um, yeah.
That's incredible, and it's like you made your childhood dream come true, and you have it now, so dealing with whether or not to let that go must be extremely challenging, and I know how much work you put into it every year. You do a different theme every year, you host it every year yourself. I think that's kind of a unique aspect that I've never seen in any haunted house that I've visited, and I can guarantee you this October, I'm coming out there, and I'm gonna go through your haunted house.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We'd love to have you. Hell, I mean, you can just come stay for the whole. You can stay for the whole month of October. I'll put your ass to work on the weekends. So, uh, but you know, it is tough because not only do I love the place, but I've grown to love the area that it's in, Fort Gaines, Georgia. Lots of great people there, and lots of great, beautiful scenery. Um, is it, is it where ideally I would have hoped to open a haunted house attraction? No. Um, has it worked out great? Yeah, it's been super successful. Our first season ever, like I said, I only had a few months to get it together. We sold 991 tickets, and I only had the keys for 3 months.
Wow. You
Yeah.
must have had some good marketing.
Um, I believe so. I think that the area was in so dire need of entertainment that the word spread like wildfire. I barely used my platform to promote it, which was crazy to me to get those kind of numbers. Um, but yeah, people would show up and say, "We've been needing this. We need something like this. We're so happy this is here." And we have everybody sign a waiver before they enter the premises or before they go in the haunt. And so as soon as you buy a ticket, then you get in line, you sign a waiver, then you come inside, right? On these waivers, people would write things at the bottom of them saying, like, thank you so much for doing this. I was just like blown away by how many people wrote something, and it's not required. There's no area there that says, tell us how you found out about us. But people would just write really sweet things. And that was our first season. The second season, I had billboards, I had radio ads, I had painted the place black and red, and it was just spreading like wildfire. That I turned this old historic mansion into this big monster. And we did 2,200 tickets our second season. The
Wow.
third season was actually around 1,900 tickets, but I did not promote the third season at all, other than some flyers and saying online, "Hey, this is what's going on."
What year did you get your truck wrapped? Was it the first year or the second year? And do people notice, like, when you're out of town, do people recognize, Dean's Haunted Mansion, or do they
Yeah,
generate curiosity?
yeah. I had got the truck wrapped within the first 6 months of owning the place. I think actually it was the first 8 months of owning the place. I got the truck wrapped. Um, I run into people all the time that are asking me about it or saying they heard about it. And, um, you know, people will automatically be in traffic and I'll look over and they're looking and they're reading and they're like going to the Facebook page and they'll send me a message and say, "Hey, just seen you at the light or whatever. We're coming out this year." And, um, it's been a great thing. There's lots of great people. It's, it's done everything that I said I wanted to do. So I mean, I feel very accomplished with it. If it does sell, I'm not gonna cry. I'll never forget it. It's been a great experience. If it doesn't sell, I'm happy to continue running it as an attraction. It doesn't. It's already there. It's established. The main thing would be is okay. Get my mom out and just show up when I need to show up. And you know, during a production season, September and October, we've never had anybody hurt by a spirit. We've just had a bunch of people acknowledge that something touched them or whispered in their ear and there was nothing there, or they seen stuff. Everybody has said, "Oh, I see the girl, I see the girl, I see the girl." I've had Mango, Avery, and Sierra, three actresses. I'm sure they'll probably watch this video actually, that work for me there, and they've all seen the same thing. It's crazy.
That's incredible. I remember you were telling me that some people actually were waiting in line to go in and they changed their mind and turned around and left and didn't go in the haunted house because of something they experienced standing in line. I don't know if it was they saw the girl or the whispering in the ear you had mentioned. I can't remember what you said exactly happened, but
Yeah, even people outside that didn't even make it inside would see something, hear something, or get a feeling and say, like, I don't know if I want to do this or not. And it was never like they said, oh, I hear the people screaming, I'm just afraid. It would always be something like something spiritual would kind of just let them know, like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do this. And I'll say this, there's been nights there, even in a production night, where nobody has said anything or seen anything, heard anything, felt anything. So I don't want anybody to think like every time we open the door, it just slaps you in the face. It's not like that, but there's been enough that's happened over 3 seasons of being open for to say like, wow, even people that just come here to work for 3 hours a night, have experienced something. And Ghost Adventures, they seemed pretty excited. They seemed happy with what they got.
I thought it was a great episode. I was super excited to see it and I was not disappointed. I'm going to probably watch it again.
Same, same. Yeah, my mom, she shot me a quick message and she was just like, "Man, they did a really good job on that." And she she was more unhappy with how she looked on camera. I was like, "Oh, mom, you look fine." Like it's not like she had ever done anything like that before. She was like, "Did I talk okay?" I'm saying, "Yeah, you did great." Um, Amazing episode. And the craziest thing to me about this is the reason I started ghost hunting was because of these guys, because of Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters. But it wasn't because I believed in it. It was because I was trying to debunk it. I remember like 15 years ago, almost 15 years ago, Alicia and I are sitting on a couch watching one of these shows. And I was like, look at these grown ass men running from their own shadows. Look at, a door moved a little bit and they're about to crap their pants. I was like, let's go buy a EVP recorder and see if we can emulate some of these experiences. Let's see if we can have some of these experiences. Let's emulate their technique and try and see if we can do this. We went to a cemetery that everybody my whole life said was haunted. Went there, nothing was happening. And then all of a sudden, when I was by myself, and asking questions, I got the chills, I felt the energy, and I captured a response of a voice coming from somebody that wasn't even there within a foot of me. And that changed my life. Everything I'd been seeing on these shows, I was like, wow, this is actually real. Like there's something to this. And that lit a fire under my ass that has never stopped burning. I've never given up my love and appreciation for real paranormal evidence and activity.
Was that your first real paranormal experience or like just one that you authenticated?
That was other than being 5 years old, seeing Jesus at the foot of my bed, that was the only paranormal experience I ever had in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And wow. Jesus. There's two things you said right there.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm sure people are gonna be curious, so I'll say it. But when I was 5 years old, I woke up in the middle of the night and I seen a man standing at the foot of my bed, once again watching me sleep. Isn't that something? They love to be there when we're sleeping. Um, but I didn't feel any bad vibe from it. I didn't feel scared, and I remember thinking to myself, I should be scared. I'm not scared. There's a man standing there looking at me, and the more I stared into trying to find his eyes in the dark, I realized it was the same it was the same person that I had seen in pictures that my grandma had around the house that were depictions of God. And I always wondered, how do they know what he looks like? Why do all the pictures look the same? It's like they know exactly how Jesus looks. How is that? Like he looks the same in every picture you see, just about. I'm like, how do they know?
I was told it was written and documented way back in the day, but I've also been told that he's African American or Middle Eastern, so really dark skin. So I just think that his image now is just relatable to everybody because that's what we've always seen. But
And I think that's what it was to me was I'm like, this is the guy. This is guy. Well, okay, so it wasn't just what I seen, it was what I felt. I felt this feeling. Like I said, I didn't feel anything bad. It was like weird. Like I felt usually something would happen and I would hear a noise in the middle of the night. Oh my God, somebody's breaking in. I'd freak out, you know. I just felt like this comfortableness, and I remember that my whole life. So I knew there was stuff there, stuff that could happen. My mom told me I probably had a dream. I'm like, no, mom, this wasn't a dream. It took me hours to get back to bed, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Um,
oh,
that that was one experience that I had that just followed me around. But until we went and tried to find it, was when I found it. And I've always said that to people too. You can't find something you're not looking for. So many people try and not find it because they're scared of it, you know.
they say when you're young, you're more open to it, so you can see what isn't there. He's probably still standing at your bed every night. He could be standing at the foot of everybody's bed, but if you're not open to it, you're definitely not going to see it or hear it, like you said.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. And I've had a relationship with God my entire life, and I'm a very strong believer. You know, I, I prayed 2 times today. Um, so, you know, it's something that I've always had. When I started doing the paranormal stuff, I didn't believe in it, but then as I was documenting evidence and having experiences, I was like, wow, I can't believe I've been going, you know, my whole life just thinking that we're the only ones here and not realizing how many spirits I've passed just going to the store or going to a friend's house.
I actually had a woman message me today and tell me how that I have a lot of spirits around me. And it was in a free psychic group on Facebook, and I do follow it, and there are some legit people on there, but it was based off of a picture I posted with my dad because I lost both of my dads. And she sent me a message, and she had over 500 comments. So the fact that she reached out to me and she gave me a reading for free. She wasn't trying to spam me or hit me up for money. And she's like, I'm here to give you a little bit of closure about your dad passing away. And that's just what she likes to do for people. So it was an incredible experience, just random today.
I'm so happy that happened for you. And yeah, I can tell when you speak of your dad, how much you loved him and how close you guys were. And it's funny too because I'm not like some. I think everybody has an empathic ability, and I know I have one, but I will say the little time you and I spent together in person around each other, that I felt like there was something different that came with you that it wasn't there with any of us.
I wouldn't deny that. I mean, I have had spirits follow me around since I was a kid. And some of them, like we were talking about your mom and spirit attachments, there's one that I had that's not there anymore. And I feel empty, like I'm missing a part of me that's been with me, but it wasn't supposed to be with me. It was just somebody that was supposed to be guided back to where they came from. And I don't know, it's just a spiritual energy. I'm very in tune with my spiritual side. And I can thank my dad who passed away for that. He got me closer to it. And I didn't meet him until I was 15, my adopted dad.
Mhm.
He was a huge part of my life until he passed away.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about his passing, but I always tell people this, man. If you believe in this stuff and you're in tune with it, you obviously a lot of people they watch this stuff because they are believers. If you believe, you know, if you believe what you're seeing, you're smart enough to know what you're seeing, what is real, what is not. Bottom line, we know spirits exist. So just know if there's somebody you love and they've passed, most likely they're going to be visiting you. They're going to be with you. I know if I died, I'm going to be wherever Jace and Anthony are, and Alicia too. But my sole purpose in life is to be there for them kids, even in eternity.
It's evident how much you love your kiddos. And Alicia, you guys are like always together. I don't know how much people understand how much you guys are together, like
Yeah.
all the time. And it's amazing to see that kind of closeness. And I love it. I fell in love with you guys. You have an amazing family. You guys have been nothing but awesome and welcoming to me, and I appreciate that.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, we love it to death. I've been so happy and stoked that you've landed in my pathway here. But not only do I got a great friend, but I think you have a lot of I don't think I know like you're an awesome writer, but I also think you have a lot of acting talents that are going to come out and we're going to be able to put on screen, which is really cool because I have a lot of films I want to do. And the way I do my films, obviously, I like to keep my family involved in them. Anything I do, I want the family to be there, but I also want a small circle of people that I can trust that I vibe well with to put in these films. So the fact that you're a friend and got talent and we got all these other things in common is really cool because um, those are the kind of people, man, I wanna work with. I don't want you to just help me, I want to help you. So
I appreciate that, and same back to you. Sorry you embarrassed me a little bit.
no, hell no, man. We're hey, I ain't tried to do this with anybody else. So I one cool thing about Krista and I guys is we both love horror. And I say horror or horrors. We both love horror, okay? And I'm making it now. She's being involved in it, and we decided to do I wasn't calling this a podcast, but that's really what it is. It's a podcast. We talked about doing it, and it's something I've wanted to do for a while. I love listening to them. I know you do too.
Yes.
And I'm like, why are we not doing this? Because sometimes when we're not recording, this is our conversation. I'm like, we need to let people in on this.
The bloodier, the better. The gorier, the better. And those conversations we have are very interesting sometimes. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and I know we kind of a little bit off the topic of of Ghost Adventures here in the episode and everything, but you guys are really truly getting to know us and hopefully you're enjoying the content. So make sure you are smashing that thumbs up. But final thoughts I want to say about this Ghost Adventure thing. Um, Seeing them on TV back then and then seeing them in person and investigating a place now that I own that's haunted when I once didn't even believe in the paranormal and I wouldn't have believed if it wasn't for them. That was quite the moment. And I didn't even get to tell them that.
you didn't get to tell them that?
No, I didn't even tell them that I was a YouTuber. I didn't, you know why I didn't? It's exactly what they said in the beginning of the show. I don't think people realize like I'm not trying to be humble. I am fucking humble. Um, he said in the beginning of the show, he said, we don't know if this is like a cry for promotion or something like that. He's because people do, they'll hit them up sometimes and like they have these haunted house attractions, so they're trying to get free promotion. I didn't mention I was a YouTuber. I didn't mention I make movies. I didn't even care if they acknowledged the attraction. It was just about getting there and giving some answers and maybe teaching me something that I didn't know. And yeah, I mean, I could have wore a HTD t-shirt while they were interviewing me. I could have did this or that. Because I own those trademarks. So it's not like I could have signed an agreement easily and said, hey, I'll wear this shirt. Oh, you can't wear logos. Oh, I own this trademark. Oh, if you'll sign off, cool. I didn't do anything like that.
Honestly, you weren't even talking about it. I didn't even know that you did this until a couple months ago whenever you told people, it's you weren't really bragging about it or anything. It wasn't like bragging rights.
Exactly. And I so it wasn't about anything like that. And I'm sure people still will say that it is, but I mean, we've seen how people are. They just take things, they twist things, they like to make their own narratives, and that's fine. You do you, I'm gonna keep doing me. It's working. Um, you know, uh, I'm very thankful and blessed that they came out, they did what they did. Dean's Haunted Mansion is really haunted. It was haunted before I owned it. So imagine how haunted it is now that I've brought a morgue bed in there that was in a morgue for 30 years. I've brought a casket in there that was used as a loaner casket for viewings for 30 years. I got a hearse there that was an active hearse that brought people to graveside, to the grave, for many years. All the dolls, all the artifacts, all the antiques. I mean, have I dumped gas on the paranormal fire? 110%. Is it what I was trying to do? Yes. Um, did I expect to get to a point with it that I couldn't control the fire? No. um, you play with fire, you get burned. And I am man enough to say that for once in my life, I bit off more than I can chew. Now, can I handle running a haunted house attraction seamlessly? Yes. It's not about that. Spiritual stuff, paranormal stuff is very real deal. And I finally found myself swimming in the deep waters of it. And when something attacks your mom, and my mom's not one of those people either that will say, uh, oh, this happened and it didn't really happen. She tells you some shit, man. She don't like liars. She don't lie. She is the most honest person I've ever met in my life. And she said, Jody, it was like a man stepped up behind me, put his hand on my shoulder, and just threw me down those stairs. That breaks my heart.
It's incredible too. And obviously you were very compelling in your, was it, you sent an audition tape, right? Is that how you got them to come out? You guys told your story in a tape, or?
Yeah, well, so actually, I don't know if how much I'm allowed to disclose, but I will say this. I was talking with a producer from the show. And he understood my situation. I kind of told him, and he was like, well, why don't you make a video for the guys and tell them, how serious this is. And I was like, yeah, of course. And what's funny, and they did not show this, but I promise you it exists. I would probably even have the raw video. I don't think I'll show it because I don't want to be that cloudy. But I will say that in the raw video, when we were doing our testimony there, like saying like, hey guys, this is what's going on, the fucking lights flickered when we said something about the place being haunted. And it was just me and my mom there, sitting there, making this video. And it was so crazy that as soon as I said spirits are here, the lights flickered.
That's awesome. They like to manipulate electricity and drain your batteries, that's for sure.
Yeah, obviously they got the power to do it. I mean, I big props, as Zach said, to Billy for cutting off the power. First the Wi-Fi, then the power. I've done that same thing before, and I'm just like, that's crazy that much energy is in here. It's not coming from the lines. There is very strong spiritualness there. Who it is, what it is, we may never know. I just know I know the facts of the place. I don't. If I ever told you, like, maybe over time you've heard me say things, but if I ever broke it down to you, like what all's happened there?
You've told me a few stories here and there that have happened, but no, I haven't gotten the full lowdown.
Well, just very quickly, I've told it so much. I know because people have asked me like, what's happened. So very quickly, um, back in the day, and this has come from a lot of people. A lot of people from the area have stopped, pulled up, and told me these stories, and just found me somewhere, even in a Dollar General. Um, back in the day, a lot of Native Americans, that area was their land, and Americans were trying to take it from them, and they slaughtered a lot of the Americans in that area. That's the story that was told to me. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's come from so many people. That's one thing. Two, um, this house sits on a graveyard. It sits on there's unmarked graves at the back of the property. Um, there's a hanging tree that's the biggest freaking tree I've ever seen in my life in my woods at the back of the mansion. And it really disturbed me one day when a gentleman that I paid to cut my grass for a while, he's kind of got sick. He's in bad health now, but he was cutting my grass for a while. He said, "Mr. Dean, did you ever hear the story about this tree you have back here?" And I was like, "No." I said, "What? There's what tree?" And he shows me. I said, "Damn!" I said, "I didn't even realize that big a tree was back there, man. Like I've been back there before, but I just never paid attention to it." He said, "That's a hanging tree." And I was like, "He's saying that just because it's a big tree?" He said, "No, you ask anybody from this area that's native to this area, they'll tell you the stories they've heard about that tree." I didn't know that when I bought it. So we discover unmarked graves when we buy it. We hear about the hanging tree. We hear about these Native American slaughterings. We hear about the woman dying on the bed. We hear about the guy upstairs that had been shot in the face. Um, we hear about other people that over the years have lived there and died there. It was built in 1829. How many people have we not heard about that have probably died there? You think about all this and you put it together, and this place is sitting at the core of this town, dead center, pretty much. You're going to have some paranormal shit.
That's absolutely insane. The graveyard and the tree. Have you actually, you were telling me there the other day about walking barefoot, like grounding yourself with the world. Have you gone out there barefoot and just walked around the yard and went out and sat with the tree and touched the tree and
Oh, I've done this, but I have not done that there.
sounds like something you need to go do. I'm totally gonna go do it. I'm gonna go walk around barefoot all over that place.
It would be very interesting. I tell you that. I think a little skepticalness there would be, but then again, I got things inside that I feel hold negative energy. Um, yeah, I mean, hanging trees the next level though. But yeah, I do like feeling energies, whether they are good or bad. I like to see what I feel from them, so I can appreciate that. I mean, that's a technique that when I was starting to do the paranormal stuff, ghost hunting, I would walk into a place and feel it before I would ever turn on the camera, and just kind of see if I could connect with it. And my approaches have changed a little bit over the years, but I'll just say this: when you come to Dean's Haunted Mansion, no matter what happens, there is a positiveness you always feel there. I've had everybody acknowledge it, but you can't deny that there's something that doesn't want it to be positive.
That's true. I bet. Maybe it's something you brought in, like that bed. You have me thinking about that crazy bed.
The bed was just there. I was like, should I get rid of this? Should I throw this out, or make it a part of it? And the reason I knew she died on the bed is because another guy, that also has done lawn work for me, he was telling me that the woman that lived there, um, that she died in that room, on the on in that room on the bed or whatever. And I asked the previous owner, I said, did you move anything in here? He said, "Oh no." He said, "I bought the place and I haven't been able to do anything to it." And I was like, "You didn't do anything?" He's like, "I bought a bunch of materials. You'll see them upstairs. We bought the materials, we brought them in, and that was it." So before him, the last person to own it was the woman that died there, and that bed has never moved. The guy that used to do my grass said that one day he was out passing by or something like that, and the woman's husband said, "Hey, do you want to come in here and say goodbye to Stephanie?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he walked in and she was dead. He said he thought it was very weird. He didn't stand there and tell me, the details of the situation. That's just what he said. And I was like blown away. Like, I've never heard of some shit like that before, but I guess people were very close with her. Even the guy at the post office used to do stuff for her. Like, everybody knew this woman. So I didn't mean any disrespect by it. I thought it was kind of respectful to have it a part of the set. Everything else was going to be covered in blood and gore. Nothing else got any different kind of attention.
How
I
long
was
was that?
piss her off or anything by any means.
How long ago was that she passed away?
Um, I think it was like, I believe it was around like 2016.
Wow.
Might be wrong. I might be a little rusty. But yeah, it's somewhere in that time frame there. But the guy that did my grass, everybody said she was the nicest woman. She was very, very kind. And we've always talked to her and acknowledged her, like, hey, we're here doing this, we're coming in, blah, blah, blah. And just trying to say, hey, like, look, we respect you. We know you're here. Look, and I know my dream is an unusual one, but I'm here. I've paid for the place. This is what I'm doing. I'm putting a lot of work in, and I feel like there's spirits there that like what I've done. Like, I know that's a weird thing to say. Like, what? Why would they like that? I think that they find it interesting. It is a unique thing.
I don't think it's weird at all. You can feel the energy, so you know. Like you if that's how you feel, that's probably how they feel.
Right.
Nothing about it. It's maybe it connects them. Some of the things that you brought in is from the era they were alive. Maybe, they're surrounded by things from when they grew up. The dolls. Those dolls are creepy. I've seen them in your videos. It's I don't know. It's incredible.
A lot of
I
sense.
can't just check it out.
Yeah, you definitely will. You'll have to come there. If I find out that like this thing is selling next week or some shit, we're gonna fly you in just so you can come in and experience it at least for a day or two. Um,
I'm there.
but overall, man, I love the episode, and the coolest thing in the world is how nice these guys were. I've heard a lot of people over the years say this and that about them. I've heard people do that same thing to me. You don't, if you got to know Zach, Aaron, Billy, or Jay personally, no. How can you say how they really are in real life? Things you've heard, really? Like, I've heard people say that I'm like this dick, this arrogant guy. I think people, they make up who you are. They tell one person, they tell 20 people. Um, I can easily see how arrogance and confidence are manipulated. Because when I was a kid, like maybe all the way to third grade, I did not have no confidence. I was a fat fuck that got picked on every single day of his life, and tormented, been stabbed in my head and my leg before I was even in third grade. Just bullied like beyond belief. Thought very low of myself, and something clicked one day. I learned how to fight and kick ass, got my ass in shape. Every girl, all of a sudden over a summer, they didn't want to talk to me, to like fucking asking me for my number and shit. And a confidence was established. I realized that I hold the key. And it's one of those things to where I think that I'm so confident that maybe it does come off that way. But I think it's a good quality to have, because on the opposite end of that, it's very cold, it's lonely, and I wouldn't wish it for nobody. And I try and help people that I see go to that dark place all the time. If it's a message, a voice note, I see people talking that online. I've reached out to random people that don't know who I am, and I'm just like, look, you're never going to be faced with something that you can't deal with. In fact, the more you go through, the more you'll be able to deal with, the stronger you'll be. And so I think people, they make up who you are, and so many people love hate. They look for it, and they take it and they run with it, and they paint you a picture that you're not. Because I can't tell you how many people I've heard say that Zach is this and Zach is that. That's not what I seen. Guy hit me up weeks after, months after the show, and said, Jody, how's your mom doing? Is she okay? I've been worried about her. Dude's on TV, has the haunted museum, busy beyond belief, and worried about my mom. Like, that's fucking crazy.
That's incredible. Very humbling too that they actually took the time to do that and help you outside of stuff that they even put on camera. You didn't see it in the show. A lot of what you said that they did for you, you didn't see it. So it's not like they're doing it for clout.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's it was a great experience, man. So, and anybody out there, just know, man, they're great guys. And if you think otherwise, just think why you think that. How do you really know that? That's a sad thing. I hate hearing people talk bad about people that um are great people, and it goes to show you how messed up the world is like, why are you even worried about other people? You got to worry about your fucking self, man. Like, life is too short. Stop worrying about what other people are doing, and just do you. And I know that's off the topic of this thing, but it really isn't. It's something that when people watch this, I hope they understand. They're going to get some fucking realism from us and our real thoughts and real views. Bam.
People feed off the negative, and they're going to put you down to get clout for themselves and build themselves up because they feel that's how they feel about themselves. It has nothing to do with you. You know, they're going to put somebody down because that's how they really feel inside. They're going to make you look ugly because they feel ugly. And it's sad. It doesn't make them feel any better at the end of the day. But
100%. Yeah. You just, anytime I see that shit or I hear it, I'm like, wow, that's so crazy that other people live in your mind like that, man. Life is just way too short, bro. I pray for my enemies. Like, when I pray, I think about people that have done me wrong, things that I see, people I don't know, and like I pray for them. It's something that my grandma taught me when I was younger, and I feel like I've always received the blessings because of it. Like, sometimes I don't, even though I do it, like I'm still like, why am I doing this? But then I see blessings coming. I'm like, that's why you're doing it.
honestly, those are old school values that haven't carried on into this generation. I don't see that very often anymore. Even this is going to sound terrible, but even people in my own family, like I've noticed that they don't wish their enemies well. They're like, oh, they could just get run over by a bus. I'm not talking about my mom. My mom is definitely more like your values, and I'm the same way too. I will pray for people that I don't like. I will pray for everybody. Just wishing something negative is going to come back on you too. It's like karma.
Mhm.
Everything is a circle. So if you treat somebody badly, it's going to come back to you in one way or another. You're going to get sick. You're going to get into a car accident. You're going to lose something that's important to you. And you don't even realize the connections a lot of times. You think it's just a bad day. Well, you're having that bad day because you gave someone a bad day. At least that's how I feel.
Dude, this is exactly why we're friends. I feel the exact same way. And that's amazing. And I mean, if you do actually believe in God, or whoever your God is, whatever you believe in, um, just think about what he would think about you talking like that, feeling like that, doing those things. Can you imagine? Like, I wouldn't want to be you. I just know that that I am blessed. So I know I'm going to continue to be blessed because I'm not changing the way that I've been or the way I do things. I'm going to continue to make mistakes too. I'm a sinner. We all are. But at the end of the day, I admit my shit, and I'm real with him whenever we have our little talks. So love you, God.
Right.
um, yeah, man. If you guys didn't see the new episode, Fear in Fort Gaines, Ghost Adventures, House Calls, uh, season 2, episode 1. They come to my haunted house attraction, Dean's Haunted Mansion. Definitely go check it out. Make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing right here to the pod. We talked a little bit about everything here tonight, Krista.
Yeah, we did. That happens sometimes. We just get off track, but it's a good track to be on when we're there. So
That's very true. We talk about this a lot of we talk like this a lot of times when we're not recording. So this is exactly why we decided to start recording, because, man, hey, let's face it, dude. We're somebody out there needs to hear this shit.
amen.
Well, thank you so much for your time tonight, Miss Krista. Leave her some love in the comment section, guys. And I'll be back in a few days. Live chat, live premiere, always right here on the Scream Scene. Usually that's my routine for the Hunting the Dead channel, but I'm using it over here. Interviews, reactions, the chats, podcasts, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're going to do right here, baby. I'll see you guys in a fusey woozy, but until then, sweet nightmares. Yeah.